the 1988 charter as well. Like the overwhelming majority of voters at the time, 80%, much more popular than Hamas, wanted a two-state solution. Not only does it matter, but it also is silly because 50% of the fucking Gaza Strip was not able. They were not even around when that election happened. Okay, the fuck are we talking about? Let me see. This is it. Palestinian public opinion poll number 22. Oh, in December 2006. I think this is the one. 85% support and 14% oppose the current Gaza ceasefire agreement, and identical percentages support and oppose extending it to West Bank. The public is divided in its evaluation of the outcome of the last round of armed confrontations, but the largest percentage, 46%, believes that the two sides or none of them came out a winner. Similarly, the public is divided in identifying who benefits more from the ceasefire, Israelis or Palestinians, but the largest percentage, 36%, the plurality, believes that the two sides or none of them benefit from it. The public is also divided over who benefits domestically from the ceasefire, Fatah or Hamas, but the largest percentage, 58%, believe that both or none of them benefit from it. The public is divided into two halves in the evaluation of the role of rocket launching in the Gaza Strip against Israeli towns, with 48% believing it serves and 48% believing it hurts Palestinian interests. Despite the fact that 57% of the public believe that a role does exist for violence in ending the Israeli occupation, only 49% believe that armed confrontations have so far helped achieve their national rights in ways that negotiations could not. Now, when you look at that and you go, wow, that means like 57%, they think that violence has a role. You have to remember, this is in 2006 in exit polls, and it goes directly, look at this, 85% are in support of a ceasefire agreement, ultimately. This is after the second intifada. This is after the first intifada. Time and time again. This is after the Oslo Accords. It took a long time for Palestinians to get to this position. The notion that they've always been violent, anti-Semitic individuals is silly. Anyway, what is this? Hamas published a video of their troops providing medical care to a female prisoner in Gaza who was captured on the first day of the war. Okay, we'll look at that in a second. Yeah, on the Wikipedia, the 2006 elections was source, 79% of the voters wanted a peace with Israel. Negotiations and permanent status. 62% believe that the government led by Hamas should conduct peace negotiations with Israel. 34% believe it should not. 58% and 40% oppose mutual recognition of Israel as a state for Jewish people and Palestine as a state for Palestinian people in the context of a permanent settlement and the establishment of a Palestinian state. 58% support mutual recognition of Israel as a state for Jewish people and Palestine as a state for Palestinian people. 48% support and 49% oppose a package of permanent settlement along the lines of the Clinton parameters, the Taba negotiations, and the Geneva Initiative. But support for various elements of the package ranges between 28% and 63%. 49% support a plan known as the roadmap. 81% prefer a permanent status track of negotiations that would lead to permanent peace and an end to conflict. Palestinians know that violent means on their behalf will only yield worse outcomes for themselves. They know this. They have known this. They've known this from day one. They've only lost every single time there has been any kind of violent resistance to the apartheid. They know that already. They recognize that. Do you get it? Do you understand? They just don't want to fucking die. And the more you kill them, and the more you take territory in the West Bank, and the more you bully them, and the more you humiliate them, the more you are pushing Palestinians into the hands of more reactionary forces. That's it. This is why every single thinker that knows the history of Israel, every single academic, every single thoughtful activist, anti-Zionist Jews and Muslims and Christians alike say the exact same thing that I've been telling you. If security is the major goal for Israeli citizens, you cannot get security by continuing the occupation and the apartheid. That's it. That's it. You must end the occupation. It is morally unjust. It is abhorrent. It is disgusting. But it also harms Israeli citizens as well. I do not know what more I can say on the matter. You will only find charlatans and propagandists on one side. On the other side, even though they don't get as much coverage, the people that accurately talk about these things with historical precision, historical accuracy, and moral clarity are never going to tell you the opposite. Anything you hear in the media on this matter, in Western media specifically, anything you hear from the IDF or any kind of like Israeli propaganda operation is going to be riddled with historical inaccuracies. It is going to be complete fabrications. It is always going to be a lie. It is so ridiculous. You are not going to be able to find a real, serious thinker on this matter that disagrees with this perspective. Now, throughout time, there were varying degrees of, there were different schools of thought. Some people believed that a two-state solution was viable, right? So, depending on which moment of time you are looking at, you will hear other opinions, okay? But every single person that is honest about what has taken place will tell you that time and time again, it was Israel rejecting any kind of peaceful transition, any kind of peace negotiations. What is this? He's condemning precisely what he does. Is this projection? Is he being ironic? About what? What am I being ironic about? Are you pro-Palestine or pro-Israel? Just say it. Stop beating around the bush. What is happening? Are you guys fucking brain dead? Are you stupid? What is going on? Like, people, I think people just don't have any way to comprehend a nuanced approach to any particular matter. If you want the violence to end across the board like I do, you have to stop the apartheid regime. Israel has all the power to do so. Hasanabi, I have a history degree, and this is 100% spot on. This subject was introduced to me by a well-known Jewish academic, Aviva Chomsky, who has written a lot about also immigration in America as well. She's great. Noam Chomsky, one of Noam Chomsky's many daughters. Anyway. So an equal but separate two-state system, correct? No, I am not in favor of a separate but equal two-state system. It will never happen. It will never happen unless 700,000 settlers are removed from West Bank. And Palestinians are also magically offered freedom of travel between Gaza and the West Bank. That will never happen. The two-state solution that was supposed to be international law, okay, has always been used consistently by the Israeli government to continue its expansion operations and create the apartheid security permit regime that they've created in the West Bank and also in Gaza. I think people are thinking there won't be a change in material conditions of Palestinians even after. They're definitely not going to get their land back. Name any indigenous people that have gotten their land back. Brother, you're comparing historical atrocities and genocide that happened hundreds of years ago to one that is currently happening in front of our eyes. We have the opportunity to try and stop it. We must. Okay? It's ridiculous. And in contemporary history, there are plenty of opportunities where there are plenty of moments, at least since the 50s and onward, where plenty of post-colonial states have gained independence from their imperialist masters. Algeria comes to mind immediately. You have Vietnam. Yeah, Korea, China, most of the nations that you think of literally went through this. What do you think of the Iranians supporting Israel against Palestinians? They claim that pro-Palestine supports the Islamic regime. Yeah, they're Iranians living in America. Most of them came here in like after the coup. They're the same Iranians usually that say we have to glass Iran to save it. I'm not interested in their perspective. Okay, we're almost at 700,000, which is pretty awesome. Makes me very happy. Oh, okay. All right, let's get to it. Let's continue with our coverage.
Well, let's take you live to the Rafah border crossing. It's at the border with Gaza and Egypt. You can see the live pictures there. There's been some confusion about what's happening there. Let's bring you up to date with what we know, and that is that the Reuters news agency has been reporting sources in Egypt saying that a ceasefire has been agreed in southern Gaza. The cessation of hostilities between Israel and Hamas was to have begun at 6 in the morning GMT, and the sources said that the ceasefire would last for several hours. They also said that the Rafah crossing was to open at the same time. That's to let much needed aid into Gaza, as we're hearing of a worsening humanitarian situation there, and aid agencies and NGOs are saying they are desperate for that border to be opened so that they can send supplies across the border. But actually, our sources on the ground are saying that the border crossing has not opened, and you can see the pictures there. They speak for themselves. The gates appear to be firmly shut there. And we've also heard that Hamas say it has no knowledge of any truce. And Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu's office, has also said that there is currently no truce nor humanitarian aid in Gaza in exchange for...
There it is. We're doing dono matching, baby. $50,000. $50,000 of dono matching. We're gonna move this over to the fucking line. We're gonna get it to $750,000, and then we're gonna fucking push it to $1 million. Okay, there you go. I'm dono matching up to $50,000.
Getting foreigners out. So quite a lot of confusion, but as you can see there, the pictures speak for themselves, showing that the Rafah border crossing remains shut despite reports saying from the Reuters news agency that it was going to be opened for several hours today. Well, as we've been reporting, Israel's army is massing in the south of Israel ahead of the expected offensive, although it's not clear at this point what form it will take. Well, President Biden's warning against a longer-term occupation. Well, our chief international correspondent, Lise Doucette, is in southern Israel for us. Good morning to you, Lise. Lise, let's start with some of the confusion around...
How we get those donations to Palestinians? This is a question that I hear quite frequently from people. Okay, the four charities, the four organizations that I have selected personally are four organizations that are internationally recognized and allowed to exist by the state of Israel and operate inside of Gaza. These organizations also have specific humanitarian corridors that the Israeli government opens up for them to operate inside of Gaza. Okay? They are already there. Not a good question, by the way. It's a bullshit question. People are fucking asking that. Some people might be asking that charitably. Many are not. Okay? No, Tiltify doesn't take a percentage from the donations. This is direct. It's wild to me. Is wild to me that, like, in the eve of me fucking dropping 50 bands, your first question is, well, probably this is not going to get to the hands of the Palestinians. And then the follow-up usually is, Hamas is going to steal the money, actually. You're just giving money to Hamas. Yeah. Fucking nasty. Anyway. Should you just be concerned that Israel is bombing the humanitarian aid coming from Egypt? No, in the Rafah border crossing, they're just standing on the other side, waiting for Israel to give the go-ahead. Fucking disgusting that Israel's holding back on it. But here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. Even the Israeli PR guy yesterday talked on LBC and said that they are opening up specific humanitarian corridors for aid to go in and won't reveal more details. But these guys are still on the ground operating every single day. And there will be need for this money even after Israel's ethnic cleansing and ethnic displacement campaign ends. Okay? You good with the people doing the racist Hasanabi thing or want to time them out? Kind of you to see. You can't stop it. I don't give a shit.
Around the Rafah border crossing. Is there any more you can add to that story?
I think we have clarity now, Regini. I think that statement from the Israeli Prime Minister's office, and that is the statement which matters at this moment, was categorical. There is no truce. There is no agreement that people can go out and aid can get in. So that's what it is for the moment. And you've been showing the images. that is also confirming that Rafah crossing, the only crossing out of Gaza right now for people desperate to escape, to get out, and for that aid